Okay, so slope of parallel lines and slope of perpendicular lines. You should have your sheet. You're going to cut up to the dotted line, and then you're going to fold it over. But be careful, because you're not folding it all the way. Right? You're going to leave this little bit here. Okay, if you fold it all the way, you'll cover it up. All right, so it should be like this. Okay, so cut and pause it until you've cut it and folded it like that. Okay, so recall that slope equals m, and that's the change in y over change in x. Rise over run, y2 minus y1, etc., etc. So, we should be able to look at an equation and be able to write another equation that's parallel to that equation and another one that's perpendicular. So let's look at these parallel lines. Okay. In a coordinate plane, two non-vertical lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. Okay, so it has same slope, has the same slope, they're going to be parallel. So when we look at two lines, we just have to see what slope they have, and then that'll tell us if it's parallel. So for example 1, find the slope. Is A parallel to B? Is A parallel to B? A. Let's see. Okay, so I'm writing M for slope. Okay, now I'm going to use a subscript. That means the little letter down here. Okay, it's tiny, it's sunk in a little bit. What I'm saying is the slope of line B, right? The slope of line A.
Anyone that needs to still take a school picture, please come to the auditorium at this time.
Slope of line B, slope of line A. Right, well, what is my slope of line B? 1, 2, negative 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. I can simplify that to negative 1/2. Okay, and the slope of line B is negative 1/2. Now the slope of line A. Negative 1 over 1, 2. Negative 1/2, negative 1/2. Negative 1/2, sorry. The slope of line A equals the slope of line B. Therefore, 3 dots means therefore. Therefore, A is parallel to B. The slope of line A equals the slope of line B. It's a subscript. Therefore, line A equals line B, and we can say they're parallel. Parallel. All right, number 2, find the slope. Is line A parallel to line B? Question mark. Well, the slope of B is going to be 1, 2 over 1. Okay, find that slope and simplify. What about the slope of line A? Okay, find the slope of line A and then play the video. One third does not equal 4/7. Right? These slopes are not the same. The slope of A does not equal the slope of B. Therefore, not parallel. Not parallel. Three, draw a line that is parallel to line A and passes through point Z. Okay, so if the line's parallel, that means the slope of A must equal the slope of line B. Okay, well, what is the slope of line A? -4 over 6 equals -2 over 3. So I would say I'm going to use this slope, -2 over 3, okay, and I'm going to make sure that from Z it has the same slope. So I'm going to rise -2 and run 3. And that's how I would draw another parallel line. Right? I use the same slope. Questions on that? Well, it's a video, so I can't even answer them. Okay, that's parallel. On to perpendicular. Perpendicular lines. In a coordinate plane, two non-vertical lines are perpendicular if and only if the product of their slopes is -1. The product of their slopes is -1. So like the slope of A times the slope of B equals -1. Okay, well that's weird. Well, let's take a look. Find the slope of each line. So let's find the slope of line A. Okay, it's down here. All right, go ahead and pause it and find the slope of line A and find the slope of line B. Go. Okay, so she got the slope of A is 1 over 5. The slope of line B is -6. Yeah. Okay, so let's multiply them. 1/5 times 6 over 1, -6 over 1. I get -6 over 5. Okay, -6 over 5 does not equal -1. Okay, and because it does not equal -1, we would say they're not perpendicular. Okay? Number 5, same process. Slope of A equals right, when I multiply the slopes together, I get -1. 2/5 slope of A times the slope of B negative 5 over 2, equals negative 1. Right? Because I get negative 10 over 10. That reduces to negative 1. And they said if the slope of A times the slope of B is negative 1, they're perpendicular. So these lines would be perpendicular. Example 6. Draw a line that is perpendicular to line A and passes through point Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So the slope of line A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 4 over 2, which equals 2. Positive slope, yeah, that's right. So I need the slope of A times the slope of B to equal negative 1. So I need 2 times the slope of B to equal negative 1. So I'll divide by 2, divide by 2, and I'll say the slope of B is negative 1/2. Right? It's a one-step equation. I know in order to make these perpendicular, the slope of one line and the slope of the other, when they multiply, have to equal negative 1. I know the slope of A is 2. Slope of B is unknown. Negative 1 is already there. So I divide both sides by 2 to isolate the slope of B. And I get the slope of B equals negative 1 over 2, negative 1/2. So now I have to go and make sure I do a rise and run of negative 1/2, negative 1, 1, 2, negative 1, 1, 2. Okay, so in essence, perpendicular lines, slope of A times slope of B equals negative 1. Slope of A times slope of B equals negative 1. Over here, the slope of A must equal the slope of B.